All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about correctly writing and counting. This is an essential skill that can really help you. You can encounter a rhythm that you don't really know how to play or understand. If you can figure out how to write the counting in most cases you can figure out how to count it. This is all based on a note tree, starting from a whole note, 4 counts, half notes, 2 counts each, quarter notes, 1 count each, and eighth notes, 1 half a count each. Okay? So it's the basic note tree. When we get into dots, we'll talk about using or referencing the next smallest note. It's helpful to remember this. Okay? As you go down, each note is worth 2 of the note below it. So in other words, a whole note is worth 2 half notes. Half note is worth 2 quarter notes, and a quarter note is worth 2 eighth notes. Also kind of important. You may want to rewind back to the screen at some point if you need to. Okay? So let's talk about our first 2 note values, whole notes and half notes. They each have a corresponding rest. Whole note, whole rest. Half note, half rest. 4 counts, 2 counts. So when you're writing and counting, the most important thing to remember, and it's sometimes a good idea to start with this, go through each measure if you're doing a whole bunch, write 1 at the beginning of each measure, because the first thing in the measure is going to be 1. Okay? From there, whole notes are easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And you'll want to space that out in the measure when you're writing it. The next step that I require you to do is, long duration, underline it. If it's a rest, parentheses, that just shows that we don't play or make sound during that. So the idea, the line we hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Half rest would be the same, but only 2 beats. In this case, if this was 1 measure, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Whole notes and half notes. Pretty simple. Whole note, whole rest is probably the easiest thing. If you have half notes, usually paired with a half rest, the only other kind of variation of those two would be this, which would be exactly the opposite of what you did above. Simple. Whole notes and half notes. Doesn't get much easier.